Lewis Hamilton made his first mark with Ferrari by setting the fastest time of the second day of testing in Bahrain with a 1 minute and 29.379 seconds using C3 tires. Beyond the time, what really surprised was how quickly he has adapted to a completely new car after 11 seasons at Mercedes. One of the highlights was his ability to squeeze the mechanical grip of the SF25 in changing conditions. The fastest lap was recorded just after the rain, when the track was still far from its maximum grip level, which gives a clue to the natural balance of the car. During the morning session, Hamilton carried out several short runs of between 5 and 8 laps, with different aerodynamic configurations. Ferrari tried 3 different levels of downforce, which allowed the Briton to quickly find the optimal point between top speed and stability in corners. Another detail that caught the eye was the use of Flovis paint on the inside of the front wing end plates, just before the fastest lap. This area is key to generating vortices that stabilize the airflow towards the barge boards and floor. The paint dispersion pattern showed that Hamilton managed to maintain a cleaner and more efficient drive than Leclerc in that same area, suggesting that he is already exploiting the SF25's aerodynamics to the full. According to telemetry analysis, the biggest difference to his rivals was seen in the sequence from turns 4 to 7, where Hamilton gained time thanks to a better weight transfer that allowed him to accelerate earlier without losing traction. In Sector 2 he was 0.2 seconds faster than George Russell and almost 0.4 seconds faster than Liam Lawson in the Red Bull. Another key factor was the electronic differential setup, which Ferrari has adjusted to offer a more predictable response on corner entry. This change was designed to correct one of the SF24's biggest weak points, and Hamilton was the first to notice the improvement, highlighting in interviews the feeling of immediate traction when exiting slow corners. While the single-lap pace was outstanding, the limited number of laps leaves open the question of how the car will behave with full tanks and advanced degradation. Hamilton showed speed, but it remains to be seen whether Ferrari has definitively solved the race pace problem that has hampered them throughout the 2024 season. Ferrari has taken a step forward with the SF25, but the real test will come when fast times are combined with consistency and durability. Hamilton has shown that the car has potential, but it remains to be seen whether it is strong enough to challenge Red Bull throughout the season. Ferrari came to testing in Bahrain with the clear aim of making the SF25 a more efficient, reliable and competitive car than its predecessor. Early signs indicate that the team has prioritized aerodynamic coherence and thermal management as the 2 key areas to reduce the gap with Red Bull and McLaren. One of the most important changes is the approach Ferrari has taken to correlate wind tunnel data with the car's actual behavior on track. To do this, they installed keel probes on the front wing, a system that allows the pressure and direction of airflow to be measured with millimeter precision. These probes, strategically positioned, serve to check whether the aerodynamic models simulated in Maranello translate correctly to the real world. The use of this type of instrumentation is not new, but what stands out on the SF25 is the combination of aerodynamic measurements with real-time thermal data. Ferrari has mounted infrared cameras on the side pod inlets to record the surface temperature of the tires, allowing cooling and suspension settings to be adjusted based on the state of the road. This solution represents a qualitative leap compared to the SF24, where tire temperatures were inferred from pressure sensors, with less precision. The new rear suspension setup also plays a key role. Ferrari has opted to modify the geometry of the suspension arms to maximize tire contact with the asphalt in variable radius corners, a weakness that penalized the SF24 at circuits such as Hungary and Singapore. Charles Leclerc was tasked with testing this package in long race simulations, completing 83 laps with C2 and C3 compounds and highlighting that degradation was much more predictable than last year. Another technical element that could make a difference is the cooling philosophy of the SF25. Ferrari has maintained a conservative line with more compact air intakes than those of Red Bull's RB21, sacrificing some aerodynamic efficiency to gain thermal stability. This decision is aimed at avoiding the overheating problems that affected the team in races such as Austria or Mexico in 2024. The application of Flovis paint on the front wing end plates suggests that Ferrari is experimenting with different angles of incidence to generate more efficient vortices that channel the airflow towards the floor of the car. The observed dispersion pattern indicates that the team is looking for a compromise between downforce and drag, a combination that could benefit them on circuits with long straights such as Monza or Baku. The electronic differential has also been recalibrated to offer a more progressive response, especially on the exit of slow corners. According to the data collected, this system allows the driver to better manage the transfer of power, reducing wear on the rear tires without sacrificing traction. Hamilton was the first to highlight this improvement, stating that the car feels more predictable and with greater scope to attack than last year's model. Ferrari has shown a more pragmatic philosophy with the SF25, focusing on improving consistency and durability rather than seeking revolutionary solutions. However, this strategy could be the key to staying competitive throughout the season, especially in a context where tire management and energy efficiency will be determining factors. The real challenge will be to see if these improvements are maintained when the car accumulates more kilometers with high fuel loads. The correlation between simulation and track has been one of Ferrari's biggest problems in recent years, and only time will tell if the SF25 is able to transfer its performance to a full season. The comparison with the competition is one of the points that can most reveal the true level of the Ferrari SF25 after the Bahrain tests. While pre-season testing does not always show the actual performance that will be seen during the championship, the data collected allows for patterns to be identified and the technical philosophies each team has adopted for 2025 to be assessed. Mercedes focused its program on reliability and mileage accumulation, with George Russell and Kimi Antonelli completing 158 laps, the most of the entire day. This strategy contrasts with Ferrari, which prioritized shorter runs to optimize aerodynamic setup and tire management. Russell's best time of 1 minute and 29.791 seconds was just 0.4 slower than Hamilton's, although the Briton was running on more worn C3 tires and an unknown fuel load. One of the points that sets Mercedes apart is the reintroduction of the zero-pod concept, with extremely compact side pods that maximize aerodynamic efficiency. However, this gamble appears to have sacrificed some stability in slow sectors, particularly in the third sector in Bahrain, where Russell and Antonelli suffered from understeer entering low-speed corners. Telemetry suggests Ferrari has achieved a better overall balance, with more neutral handling in slow corners and superior traction exiting hairpins. Red Bull faced a number of technical issues that limited its mileage to 91 laps, a surprisingly low figure for the team that has dominated recent seasons. Liam Lawson's water pressure problem in the morning forced the team to modify its test program, prioritizing the evaluation of systems over pure performance. Despite this, Max Verstappen praised the new RB21's ease of handling from the garage, highlighting that the car has a better balance between the front and rear axle than its predecessor. Most significantly, Red Bull has yet to show its true potential. Historically, the Austrian team has run conservative setups during pre-season to hide its speed, concentrating on reliability and data correlation. The RB21 has adopted a more radical aerodynamic solution on the vanity panels, with additional air inlets that optimize cooling without penalizing aerodynamic drag. This solution contrasts with Ferrari's more conservative approach, which could make the difference on circuits with high temperatures such as Bahrain or Singapore. McLaren continues to consolidate its position as one of the teams with the greatest room for growth. Lando Norris and Oscar Piastri completed 132 laps, testing a new brake cooling system that has generated controversy for its integration with aerodynamics. This system channels hot air to the underside of the side pods, improving thermal efficiency without affecting the airflow to the diffuser. Although Piastri suffered a collision with Nico Hülkenberg at turn 8, the MCL39 showed consistent pace on long runs, reinforcing the idea that McLaren will be a direct rival to Ferrari in the fight for second place in the championship. Aston Martin adopted a more experimental strategy, evaluating a new wider foot diffuser concept, similar to that used by Haas. This solution seeks to increase downforce at the rear without penalizing top speed, although the data collected indicates that it is still far from offering a competitive advantage. Fernando Alonso and Lance Stroll completed 127 laps, with a more conservative pace than in 2024, suggesting that the team is prioritizing the evaluation of new parts over absolute speed. The overall balance positions Ferrari as one of the teams with the best performance on short runs, but still with unknowns on long runs. The consistency shown by Leclerc and Hamilton's ability to adapt are positive signs, although the difference in mileage with Mercedes and McLaren could affect the team's ability to fine-tune the setup in the coming weeks. The challenge for Ferrari will be to maintain this early advantage throughout the season, especially in a context where Red Bull has probably kept its true potential to itself and Mercedes continues to rely on reliability as the pillar of its development. The upcoming test sessions and the first races of the year will be crucial to determine whether the SF25 can establish itself as the true title contender or if it is just a passing preseason illusion. The second day of preseason testing in Bahrain left Ferrari with promising signs, but also with unknowns that will only be resolved when the season begins. The SF25 has shown an evolution compared to its predecessor, with improvements in critical areas such as traction, tire degradation and the ability to adapt to different track conditions. However, the car's true capabilities remain to be tested in race conditions. Hamilton's fastest time of 1 minute and 29.379 seconds has put Ferrari at the center of the conversation, but that performance needs to be put into context. The fastest lap was achieved on C3 tires in a dry post-rain window, which prevents a direct comparison with the pace shown by Mercedes or McLaren in more consistent conditions. Furthermore, the 45 laps completed by Hamilton is a limited record that leaves the SF25's performance in long race simulations untested. Leclerc's consistency of 83 laps is a positive sign for Ferrari, especially given the improvement in tire degradation compared to 2024. The Monégasque reported a more linear and predictable loss of performance, suggesting that the rear suspension modifications are working as expected. However, the car's sensitivity to wind gusts in variable radius corners remains a concern, especially for high downforce circuits such as Barcelona or Singapore. The comparison with the competition also leaves a mixed reading for Ferrari. While the SF25 has shown a superior overall balance to the Mercedes W16 in slow sectors, the greater accumulation of kilometers by the Germans could translate into better preparation for the first races. Red Bull, despite its technical problems, remains the benchmark of the championship, and its conservative approach to testing suggests that they have not yet revealed their true potential. Ferrari has opted for a philosophy of evolution rather than revolution, prioritizing the correlation between simulation data and behavior on track. The combination of keel probes for aerodynamic analysis and thermal cameras for tire monitoring shows a more rigorous and methodical approach, but the key to converting this progress into results will be the team's ability to maintain constant development throughout the season. The human factor also plays a crucial role in Ferrari's project for 2025. Hamilton's rapid adaptation to the car and his ability to squeeze out maximum performance from the first days are encouraging signs for the team. His aggressive driving style, combined with Leclerc's experience, could become a strategic asset for the development of the SF25. Despite the positive signs, Ferrari still faces several challenges. The lack of accumulated mileage compared to Mercedes and McLaren could affect the team's ability to optimize the setup on different types of circuits. In addition, the evolution of the aerodynamic package during the season will be crucial to closing the gap with Red Bull, especially on high-load circuits such as Monaco or Hungary. Pre-season has made it clear that Ferrari has made a step forward, but the big question is whether that progress will be enough to challenge Red Bull throughout the entire championship. The key will be in the team's ability to transform its single-lap speed into consistent race pace and in the efficiency of its technical development program during the season. Ferrari begins 2025 with a balance between potential and caution. The SF25 has proven to be a quicker and more refined car than its predecessor, but the lessons of recent years make it clear that speed in pre-season does not always translate into victories. The real challenge will be to maintain this level of performance when the pressure of competition is at its peak and consistency makes the difference in the fight for the championship. The next few days of testing and the first races of the calendar will be the true measure of whether Ferrari has built a car capable of breaking the title drought or whether, once again, the expectations generated in pre-season end up being just a passing illusion.